Okay, so just wrapping up the Norfolk State game. Really not going to spend a lot of time talking about that today. Hope you guys don't have too many questions. It was a good team win. Certainly, I think we dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage, and that was critical for our success. Certainly, number 15 gave us some problems. They hit him on a deep route where our post safety was not in position. Should have been in the middle of the field there. So that was a coverage error, and then he hit that two-move route. Those were the two big plays they got in the passing game, and then obviously we didn't fit the boundary Ted very well in the third quarter and gave up that long touchdown. So that's kind of been one of the things that has been in a little bit of a pattern for us, is giving up some explosive plays a couple times a game, and we've got to correct that. This will be interesting this week. So our players of the week, our scouts of the week, Marcus Weir did a great job giving us a look on the D-line, helping our offense get ready to go. Ethan Bullock on special teams continues to show flashes and play physical. And then Justice Perkins on offense. And so 3 Montana boys doing a nice job of getting us ready to go play. And then Bryce Stirk was our defensive player of the game. The entire offensive line, certainly when you set a school record with 3 100-yard rushers, what do we have? A school record in rushing first downs, one of the top 3 rushing performances in school history. What's the top one? 2 years ago, Portland State, right? Yeah. So I think we were over almost 400 and something yards in that game rushing. And so that's 2 of the top 3 rushing performances in the 120 plus years of football here at Montana State in the last 2 years. And, we don't run a triple option offense. And so I think that speaks to the job that, consistently Brian Armstrong does of getting us into good runs, the stable backs that we have, and the pride our offensive line takes in running the ball. And those things usually don't happen in the first half. They usually happen in the second half, and they happen for a reason. Our kids are well conditioned, and we're excited to get into the second half. And so, and then Josh Hill made a couple big plays for us. Obviously, our kick coverage got a lot better when we put some veteran guys out there. Josh did a really nice job and got us a couple tackles there. So, start off with NAU. Head coach Chris Ball in his first year. I've known Chris for a long time. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's an excellent football coach. I think it was an excellent choice to lead the program there at Northern Arizona. I consider him a friend. We go back a ways. And I know from talking to him, one of the reasons why he was interested in this job is because they had a 6th-year starting quarterback in Case Cookus. And I would have felt a lot better about this job had Dakota Brewcup stuck around. Let me just say that right now. And so that's certainly an advantage that I think he has there. I think he was wise to kind of keep the offensive staff intact more or less, so that the system was going to be the same, the verbiage was going to be the same for Case. And you can see, he's rolling. I think Joe Logan, senior running back, really, his numbers in the run game don't reflect how important he is to this offense. They use him a ton in the pass game. He's a threat every time he touches the ball. He ran all over us 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, whatever it was, my first year here. Really did not tackle him well. He had a big run at the end of the first half 2 years ago when we were down there that actually was hugely impactful in the game. And so he's a guy that has had some big days against us since I've been here, and we've got to always be aware of him. They will use the tight end in the passing game. Lots of RPOs, heavy tempo team. You got to get him off schedule. If you give him, if you're giving them 5 yards when they flip the ball out on the perimeter and 5 yards when they're running inside zone, you're going to have a long day because they're going to grind you out. They're going to run 90-plus plays like they did last week in a loss against Illinois State. They still had 89 plays. Here's a stat, okay? They have taken downfield shots 49 times in 4 games. So right around 10 times a game, they're going to launch. And it does not matter what the score is. This team is never out of the game because they're one play away every single time. I think they've got more diversity in terms of their receiving core. 10, 18, 8 all have the ability to stretch the field vertically. They're all good players. 10 is for a freshman, man. He's a really good player. I think he does a lot of really good stuff. And as I said, they will target the tight end in the pass game as well. Plus, Joe Logan out of the backfield on T-wheels, slip screens, things of that nature. So they have diversity to their offense. And again, you got to be able to defend the entire field on every rep because they're going to stretch it. Defensively, lots of movement, lots of bogus pressure. The D-line is going to be active. I really like 90, 95. I think those 2 guys inside. 90 plays really hard. Really like the way that kid plays. 95, big, physical dude. He's a good player. They've got some veteran guys in the secondary. 30 and 12 are both active safeties. 29 is a veteran guy for him at corner. And so they've got some depth and experience in the back end as well. Number 1, kind of their buck, veteran guy. I can remember him from a couple years ago, really good player. And so they've got some guys there. One of the things that's maybe not a thing that you're looking at that's all that sexy, but they have on paper they got the two best specialists in the Big Sky Conference. They got the best kicker and the best punter, and so certainly that's in a league contest. That's something that you got to pay attention to, and we certainly will. I know that they have Joe Logan back there returning kicks as well, so they take pride in that phase, and they've got a good group of guys there. So league play, man. Maybe you can tell I'm a little bit more serious right now. And so keep your questions short and let's go to work.
How's the mentality change in league play overall? What's the direct message for your team?
Exactly that. Get nothing for being 3-1 in non-conference. Our record's 0-0. It's time to go to work. Okay, all the chips are on the table now. Every week is going to be a war. Every week is going to be a war. There's no weeks off in the Big Sky Conference. And so that starts this week. And we know we've got a hugely talented player in Case Cook, but he's not the team. I mean, we're going to have to defend the run, stop the run. We're going to have to do a good job in coverage. We're going to have to move some of these active D linemen off the ball. We're going to have to be efficient in the pass game. There's a lot of things that we're going to have to do well to get a win.
What's your synopsis just after the first 4 games, where you're at going into conference play?
Yeah, we're 0-0 right now, Greg. I'm not even talking about what happened in non-conference play. We played a lot of guys. We're going to have to continue to play a lot of guys. Could care less about what just happened over the last 4 weeks. This is all about Northern Arizona University on Saturday, 1 o'clock.
How has Michael Jobman provided a steady influence in the middle of the linebacker?
He's come a long ways, man. He really has. Really respect the hard work that kid put in the offseason. He's improved his body. He's much stronger in the lower body. That's one of the things that I think kind of kept him from being able to play to his potential. I think he understands the scheme better. I think he's done an awesome job of really taking the next step in terms of how he prepares himself, and he's become a much more productive player because of that.
We talk about how guys who redshirt or don't redshirt, their careers go fast. Case Cook has been around a long time. How much does that experience play, especially at quarterback?
He's seen it all. It's like, the second he gets there, if you're going to press him into the boundary, they're going to convert the route, and it's going to be bombs over Baghdad, for crying out loud. I mean, when we went down there 2 years ago, we went for 2 at the end of the game. I don't know if you guys would remember what had happened, but Tyrell Thomas did not travel. Jalen Cole got ejected for a targeting call in the 3rd quarter. And from that point on, it was launch, and they either got a PI or they got a 25-yard gain or more. And I swear, I think that's part of their deal. Is just keep throwing deep shots, because in this league, you're going to get PIs. So, they're averaging 3 pass interferences against the opponent a game on those almost 10 shots a game that they're taking, and they're completing those at a pretty high level. And so, the guy there's no mystery for the guy. I mean, you can try to disguise your coverage. He's going to find the hole in the zone. If you're playing zone, he's just going to pick you apart and take what you give you. If you want to press him and take your shot, he throws the best ball the guy throws is a deep ball. He throws a beautiful deep ball, puts a lot of air underneath it, lets his receivers adjust to it. They do a nice job, what we call saving the box down the sideline, so they can adjust and fade away from the defender. And so, it's going to be a challenge for sure. We're going to have to score some points, because they're averaging 40 points a game.
Can you evaluate, I know the middle linebackers were, there was a lot of depth there coming into the season and good competition there. So can you evaluate how those guys have performed to this point?
Yeah, I think they've done a nice job. I think we're doing a really good job defending the run, which is obviously the primary job of the inside linebackers and our down guys. A lot of that credit probably goes to guys like Chase Benson and Derek Marks, but Jason Scrimpos. But I do think that you see a redshirt freshman in Nolan Askelson, who's playing very efficiently. We already talked about Michael Jobman and the job he's doing. Callahan O'Reilly plays about the same amount of snaps as Nolan does, and so we're able to keep those guys fresh and kind of keep them rolling. You're seeing Josh Hill play more and more, especially on 3rd downs, because he's an excellent zone dropping inside linebacker, because he's smart, kind of like Case. He played a bunch of football, and he's a guy that we really like to have on the field on 3rd downs, and so I think that mix has really helped us. Chad Cano and the rest of the crew just kind of throw their bodies around down on the goal line. You see that kind of being their deal, and then obviously they add special teams value. So I think that's been an area where we haven't gotten those guys nicked up a whole lot, and so it's been good to keep those guys fresh.
You mentioned the stable of running backs now, especially coming off this past game and developing some of those guys. Just kind of how do you juggle up who's gonna be involved at that position?
It's kind of who's available right now. So I had somebody tell me we have a bunch of white bowling balls and they all look the same. We just keep rolling them out. So, it is what it is. And so, we're hopeful, obviously, to get some of these guys back. and we will eventually, but it's a next man up mentality, you know. I mean, Northern Arizona could care less how many running backs we have. In fact, they're probably happy that we have the issue, right? So nobody cares about your problems, and most people are happy you have them. That's just the way it is, and so we don't worry about who's not available. We try to take care of them, get them back as quick as we can, and we get that next guy ready to go.
Can you talk about your connection with Chris Ball, as well as talk about his defensive principles?
Yeah, you know, Chris has been a coordinator a long time, and he's run a variety of systems, whether it's at Washington State, Alabama, most recently at Memphis, and was under Todd Graham at Arizona State, and you see some of that influence. And Todd was kind of a blitz-o-matic guy. I don't think Chris is quite as aggressive, but definitely has a vast knowledge of defensive schemes. He's run a variety of systems. He's a very, very smart guy. He's a good guy. I mean, I think kids probably enjoy playing for him. He's got a good sense of humor, all that kind of stuff. I got to know him. We actually were renting his house in Pullman when I worked at Washington State, and he was at Arizona State, and they were trying to sell it. So my wife staged it, and we got the thing sold for him about the time I took off to go to UTEP to call the defense, and worked out great. Got to know he and his family during that period of time. I believe he was a finalist for this job and interviewed for this job, and we actually compared notes throughout that process too. And so very open, honest relationship with the guy. Have a lot of respect for him, and like I said, I think he's going to do a great job down there.
How about Aaron Pflugrad on the offensive side? I know that you haven't played him since he's taken over, but what have you seen kind of schematically from
They
him?
haven't changed a bit. That's what I've seen. It's almost, you can almost, especially when they get in the red zone, it's all the same stuff. And maybe they don't single up their X quite as much because they don't have the creature they had down there for a few years, but they, I think that was the mandate. Hey, if we got Case coming back for a 6th year, let's not put a new offense in. Let's really build on what we've done, because they've been pretty good on offense when he was available to them. And so I really don't see Aaron changing much at all.
What did Tucker do so well in practice leading up to the game this past week?
Accuracy and decision making. I mean, I think that was obviously. I mean, I think you guys are smart enough to be able to see what's going on, and when you're not giving your open receivers opportunities, then it's time to kind of examine what's going on. And I think that was the number one thing that led to that, was his decision making and his accuracy. And so I think that showed up in the game too.
You plan on sticking with Tucker going forward?
We'll see. We'll see. I think that's one thing that, making change. This is a people business. Let me just kind of back up for a second, Aaron. This is a people business. So when you make decisions that affect people, those aren't easy, But I think I've got a track record that shows that I'm willing to make tough decisions, and I'm going to do what's best for our organization regardless. And heck, that might be me deciding one day I'm not doing a good enough job. And I told Leon he's never going to have to fire me. If I don't think I'm doing the job, I'll walk away. And I think I owe that to this program and to these kids. And if it means having to make a change at quarterback or personnel changes on our staff, I'm willing to do that if I believe it's the right thing to do.
I saw Mitch Brott was playing a little bit of like strong side and moving around on that offensive line. What do you like about him, moving him around? What did you like about the efficiency that you got from him?
It was one play, but we could have run it all day. So, I'm just trying to get our best guys to the point of attack at times. Good?
I was just going to ask what the process is like of, now that you're through 4 games, of trying to decide who keeps playing, who doesn't, those type of red shirt things.
That's always a tough one. I was actually having a conversation with Eric Frazier, our wide receiver coach, in the locker room a minute ago, and I said, play him, man. You got to get him ready, because you're a game away. Okay, this guy goes down. You haven't ever played this other guy. Use them all. We're going to need them all. I think it's a great rule. I mean, I think there is some strategy at times involved, but at our level, I think the strategy kind of goes out the window, and it's more about necessity. When you're carrying 120 guys on a roster, and that means you got all these guys that have redshirted and then built up like you do at a Power 5, it's way different. It's way different. Here, you're going to need all of them, and so you may as well just play them, and if you have the luxury of redshirting them, great. And if you don't, you look at a situation like what happened with Logan Jones. Now you've got that red shirt perhaps down the road when they need it. And so, like I said, we'll worry about that when we have to worry about it. But right now, we got to let all these guys go and see what we got. I mean, I think there's guys like Jaden Smith, who's really playing well in practice and deserves an opportunity to get on the field. Tyrone Marshall, the junior college transfer, just talking about the wide receiver room alone. I mean, there's some guys that are dynamic with the ball in their hands that, if we don't get them going, they're not going to learn the system. And if they don't know the system, then when we really need them down the stretch, we're not going to have them where we want them. So, all right. Thanks, guys.